This is another sign of the times, an analysis, and a commentary. Donald Trump raises serious foreign policy concerns. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 17. Therefore thou shalt say this word unto them, Let my eyes run down with tears night and day, and let them not cease. For the virgin daughter of my people is broken with a great breach, with a very grievous blow. 18. If I go forth into the land, then behold the slain with the sword and destroying weapon, and if I enter into the city, then behold them that are sick with famine and sickness. Yes, both the prophet and the priest go about into our land, but they know not. Donald J. Trump ran for president, boasting that he knew more about fighting terrorists than America's generals. But now that Mr. Trump is the president-elect, he is spending a great deal of his time with retired generals and those of a particular breed, commanders who, when they served, were often at odds with President Obama. One has been named as Mr. Trump's national security advisor, and several others are candidates for coveted positions in his cabinet or are advising him on how to confront the world's greatest threats. They would give his foreign policy a far more aggressive cast than Mr. Obama's. Turning to the retired officers reflects Mr. Trump's preference for having strong, even swaggering men around him. But it worries national security experts and even other retired generals who say that if Mr. Trump stacks critical jobs purely with warriors, it could lead to an undue emphasis on military force in American foreign policy. Again, it could lead to an undue emphasis on military force in American foreign policy. If you have too many generals in the kitchen, the dish is likely to be baked with even more military instruments inside, said a retired Army lieutenant colonel and an expert in counterinsurgency strategy. I'm not sure that's the recipe the United States needs for every foreign policy meal. Mr. Trump's inclination toward generals and top jobs also runs counter to the credo of civilian control of the military, a constitutionally enshrined principle that some say safeguards the United States from becoming another Pakistan or Turkey, where the military is a political player. He is sticking his tongue out at the prior administration, said a professor emeritus of history at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, who has written about civilian control of the military. He is inherently distrustful of the military people that the system throws up at him. He thinks they're not strong people. They are Obama's generals. Again, Revelation chapter 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings and leaders of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich for the abundance of her delicacies and luxuries. 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. 5. For her sins have reached into heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double, according to her works. In the cup which she has filled to her double. 7. how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judges her. Yes, it's time for the physical and spiritual manifestation of the book of Revelation. And all these are more signs. This is the warning. It's time for prophecy to be fulfilled.